it should be about time. God, this design. I've got a bit of a soft spot for hot redheads. She hits everything just in the right spots. Only problem, I somehow managed to get a Convallaria in 50-ish pulls, and I'm with 14 pulls left over. This one might hurt. I might have to farm as much as possible and keep spending all on her banner. But for now, let's begin by checking her out. Of course, being a fire mage, she burns absolutely everything. Are those 14,000 HP? 20% extra magic attack when dealing critical damage inflicts 1 stack of ignition. At the end of the turn, 25% HP loss based on the sum of physical and magical attack. I thought it was another 10% burn. Jesus Christ, that's big. On the target, lasting for 2 turns, can be triggered up to 4 times per round. After casting fire skills, she gains crit 3, 45% crit rate, and crit damage, 45% crit damage. And of course, at the start of battle, all allies gain immunity from burning tiles, because she's going to be spamming a lot of these. Basic attack, single target, 90% fire damage, forcibly changes the tiles to burning, because of course it would. Reaction, immune to scorch and burning. When on a burning tile, damage taken minus 10%. At the end of the turn, recovers 20% HP. That's alright, same firewalking as the other Firecasters. Wings of Freedom, instant, the character teleports to any burning tile and deals 50% fire magical damage to all enemies within 1 tile radius of the character. The tile within range are forcibly turned into burning. This forcibly I honestly like a lot, means she can burn everything even if it's not just grass or wood tiles. Meteor Flame, magic damage, selects a tile. If there's no burning tile within 3 tiles of the target, 70% fire AoE damage to all enemies within range, and of course, forcibly turn the centered tile and the tile in a 1 tile radius into burning. If there is a burning tile, increases damage dealt to all enemies within range to 140%, and absorbs the burning tiles. And this one costs 4. Looks like she's also going to be another of those characters that's really going to be benefiting a lot from Tyr being in her team. Fiery Wings, Nirvana in Flames. Selects a random enemy within 2 tiles of the target tile and attacks 6 times. Each attack deals 20% AoE damage to all enemies within 1 tile range, and the first 3 attacks inflict Scorch for 2 turns. After dealing damage, if there's a burning tile within 2 tiles of the initially targeted tile, absorbs it to additionally inflict 1 stack of ignition, the 25% attack and magic attack life loss, for 2 turns after the first 3 attacks deal damage. Oh, they don't let us try her out the Cursed Frog skill. That's too bad. Also, this thing costs 5. What the hell? What do you mean 5? Isn't 5 a bit too much? Especially since she has no extra energy generation for herself. Let's start with Meteor Flame. It's not just the burning and ignition that deals a ton of damage, it's also the fact that she crits. She wants a lot of crit on top of everything. Okay, basic attack on a 3 tile range, that's pretty neat too. So what does this look like? I don't know, honestly I expected something a bit more flashy. And on the bright side, she also doesn't have any of the silly restrictions that Barrel also has, like having to stand still before casting a spell or having to charge up a spell for an entire turn. At least from the demo, she doesn't look all that crazy, but I do expect all the damage over times to go completely off the wall once she's properly geared up and properly built as well. Attacking an enemy with Scorch, crit increased by 20%, 65% chance to crit with her own buff, When attacking an enemy with ignition, crit damage plus 20%. Upon defeating an enemy with Scorch, 60% fire AoE damage to all enemies within 2 tiles and inflict ignition for 2 turns. This is something I absolutely wanted to see on her. And the other one was Ribbit. Instant skill transforms the target into a cursed frog for 1 turn, completely shutting down one enemy as an instant skill. One thing I'm not too sold on is the teleport. She can teleport any burning tile on the field, but it has to be a burning tile. 208 speed, she's also fairly fast. There might be some problems trying to set up a proper burning tile somewhere around the map for her to teleport into, especially if you want to try and perform an alpha strike in PvP. Alright, one thing we didn't check is the weapon, because all the most recent characters have been coming out with their specific gear. AoE damage plus 10%, start of the turn, force the tile on the closest enemy within 3 tiles to become burning, lasting for 2 turns, cooldown of 3. I guess this is what they're going to use in order to let her do the charging skill. Percent when dealing damage and score a critical hit, 100% chance to inflict ignition on the target, so yet another life loss for 1 turn. So she kind of works like Safia, the basic version. In order to make good use of this, she needs to stay kind of close to the enemy. Once she does, she can just teleport and then knock down an AoE on top of whatever enemy is close by. And one thing I need to check is whether they're going to add more weapons here. Looks like still no, it's still just Army Breaking Spear, Blood Looks Sight Amulet and Shield of Justice. We probably have to wait a little bit longer before they add more weapons for more characters to this list. Not to mention the proper event that's going to give up the materials to pull for those weapons. So, 15 pulls and a goddamn dream. Let's go. Of course, no upgrade. And just another abyss. 5 more. Don't remind me. And let's just go. Come on. I need a bit of a miracle. Well, nothing on day 1, but I will keep on trying.
2 hours later.
Absolutely not me doing the travel adventures just to buy these things first, so I can do a couple more pulls for her. Let's see, 3, oh that's another 5 pulls, we can go up to 20. Oh god, oh god, oh god, it's happening, oh god, it's happening. Is this for real? Please LUVATA, please LUVATA. 20 pulls, 20 pulls for LUVATA. I can't believe it. How do I keep getting away with this? I'm at a loss for words here. Okay, where is she? Where is she? Come here. Come over here. First thing first, level 60 immediately. Blazing Heat, Ribbit. Yeah, no, we're going with Ribbit for the first one. I think we will likely need a Castalia as well, but for later. I also need another Castalia for Kvare, but I will worry about that guy afterwards. For now, it's all going to be LUVATA. 20% attack on a burning tile, end of the turn, forces the character tile to become burning for 2 turns, but we're going with Leaping Flames first. A reaction before receiving single target physical attack, if the character is on a burning tile, performs Preempt, absorbing burning and gaining a shield of the damage type corresponding to 100% of the character's magic attack. It's on a 3-turn cooldown though. Shields are nice. Shields are usually pretty nice, and Preempt means that she can deal more damage, possibly apply even more scorching, maybe even killing someone before she gets touched. Let's go with this one first. Oh, she does have energy restoration. Less than 1 recovers 1 energy. This might be fairly helpful, but we do have Tyre. And at this point I think Tyre is basically going to be just an energy battery specifically for her. 80% magical attack inflicts Scorch, 90% fire magical attack and changes styles to burning. This one also has an extra range, and she applies plenty of Scorch with her other skills, so let's go with the extra range first. That's 11. Nirvana in Flames and Meteor Flame. Here we will need a Castalia. So Nirvana in Flames has a smaller AoE, but she behaves more like Barrel's Boom, hitting random enemies. I think this is going to be either one or the other, but I want to try test them both, see how much damage they deal. Because smaller AoE, multiple hits, more Scorch, this one might be better if the enemies are a bit more huddled together, so she can take advantage of the 1 tile extra range from the middle one. It's also nice that it's ground targeted. I don't know, Meteor Flames feels like something you will want to cast after the charge, but even the charge requires a burning tile. Also, this is 140% damage to all enemies. This one is 6 by 20, 120% damage plus 3 times 10% HPS damage from the Scorch plus Ignition. Let's start with the Nirvana in Flames first, even though this is 5 mana. Oh, she starts with Searing Gaze too. 3 tile range, 80% fire AoE damage to all enemies within 1 tile and 1 stack of Ignition. Forces the tile into burning, the character gains attack and meditation, lasting for 2 turns. Okay, cool, there is a way for her to get meditation outside of just having to rely on Tyre. For her weapon, it would be ideal to get the one from the gacha, cause it lands 1 burning tile on 1 target within 3 tiles the moment she gets her turn, but if that's not an option, 10% magic attack upon casting an enemy attack for each 1 target hit increases magical damage and piercing damage dealt by 10% up to 20. Might be always nice. When unharmed, maximum range of single target skills, which she has nothing, she has the fiery wings and that's it. AoE damage by 15% and still has to go up, but Resentment Broom is so damn rare. After dealing damage with an active attack, 35% chance to inflict life loss, equal to 20% magic attack on the target for 1 turn. This is currently on Convallaria. I honestly wouldn't mind putting it on her as well. Life loss is going to be yet another debuff on top of Scorch and Ignition. Yeah, you know what? Let's try this one out first. For the accessory, I think anything that boosts magic attack is going to be fine already. If not, Prairie Fire. This way she can apply burning on ground tiles, even though those tiles will require grass or wood. And down here I think I just want the magic attack. So she basically stole Barrel's gear, for the most part. Now, when it comes to the gear engraving, damage plus lifesteal, that's always kind of nice, or just resonance, because she might not have long cooldowns, with one exception on the Wings of Freedom, but 4 to 5 mana cost, they are kind of heavy, and if you can just make without, second turn, you cast a 5 cost skill, the engraving gives you 5 mana back, and you can cast another 5 cost skill on the turn afterwards. That might be very, very helpful, so I think I might want to stick to these ones. She has no movement restrictions. She can do Prairie Fire first, but sadly this does not set any ground tiles on fire, and she can just select the middle tile to hit all 4. More? The first hit was a bit disappointing, not gonna lie, but she kind of caught everything back up. Okay, we saw 2k and then there were 6k explosions. And now let's see if the one shot works the same. Again, Prairie Fire first, even though this doesn't really do anything. And then Meteor Flame. Okay, 7000 damage, plus burning. And she didn't apply ignition, and there were no extra explosions from ignition. I think I have to try this on something a bit heavier. When dealing crit damage, 1 stack of ignition, she didn't even crit. Oh, that's too bad. At 0 stars, it's only 5% magic attack. When dealing crit damage, 1 stack of ignition for 2 turns once per round. Needs to go up to 2 stars, so that after casting fire skills, she gains crit 1 for an extra 15% crit rate. Crit 2 at 3 stars, 4 stars, crit rate 2, crit damage 1. The 3 stars is going to be the first milestone that you absolutely want to reach. 4 stars, 5% extra magic attack, that's nice. Up to 3 times per round for the ignition, crit rate 2, crit damage 1. But at least for me, she's going to end up maxed. Especially considering that SP Revia should be almost there. 77, 120. If I have to try and force crit damage in order for her to keep stacking in ignition, I would need 15% crit rate from here and very, very likely other crit rate from a Maverick Cloak. Okay, so let's start with roster. But for the big skill, we're going to wait a little bit. I want all of the enemies to come at least a little bit closer. See, 1, 2, and let's start with Searing Gaze. LUVATA gives Scorch immunity to the entire team, but I guess the summons don't count. Currently, she has roster, 1 Scorch, and 2 stacks of ignition. So what happens if this goes on a single target? Damage doesn't seem that high. It's just her, but holy! What are these? 1, 2, 3, 4 ignition, life loss, 6 ignition, Scorch, 2 life loss. And I guess Kvare's next turn also has to be the big AoE, so that she gets piercing vulnerable on her. Fiery Wings again. Oh, and I guess they do count as singular attacks too. Now this is 70% AoE damage and it burns the ground. Almost 7,000. And both of them get scorched. Give her the immunity. And another nice big scorch on the ground. Yeah, Scorch and double stack of ignition. And honestly, not gonna lie, I really like the large AoE from Meteor Flame. Because it just sets everything on 17,000 damage. If you don't have a LUVATA of your own, that also increases your movement cost by a little bit, on top of forcing you to take 10% HPS damage for each tile that you're trying to traverse. It's a bit of a hard choice between these two, but I do think I prefer Meteor Flame. If anything, at 4 mana cost, it's also a little bit easier to cast, and if you want to do the 140% attack, you can always just use the command order for the second attack and do Searing plus Meteor Flame in a single turn. That should also deal quite a little bit of damage, especially if people are nice and bunched up together. Here, Pursuit Order. Cast number 1. It's the AoE on the ground. Cast number 2 eats it to deal extra damage. Sadly, those two were not scorched, so they did not explode to inflict extra ignition on this one. Yeah, for the time being, I guess I'm just going to leave her with Meteor Flame. It's the skill I kind of like the most. In the future, we'll see. I still want to play around with both, see which one I feel most comfortable, or I will likely just swap them in or out depending on how many enemies I'm going to have to fight. Because if it's multiple enemies, Meteor Flame. On single targets though, or bosses, Nirvana seems absolutely amazing. The one skill that turned out to be a bit of a disappointment, I guess, is the Fairy Wings of Freedom, because they require a burning tile for her to jump onto. So I'm going to keep on playing around with her, trying her out as much as I possibly can, but I guess that's gonna be it for me for the moment. As always, thanks a lot for watching, and see you guys around soon. Ciao!
Così virtuoso, volendo ver così